How's it going? Good to see you guys. In case you guys didn't know, I am Shelly. Hello. I'd like to kind of just lay out the agenda for today's workshop. We're going to start with a warm-up. Then I'm just going to walk you through some of my favorite drills and exercises to help you unlock your press, as well as just playing around with like the tuck and the straddle, maybe fixing your alignment on your straight handstand, playing around with like the 7, maybe some jumping up into handstands, pressing, puppy presses, and then maybe some like combinations. I know that's a lot of things. My goal is to kind of like expose you to a bunch of different drills and exercises, not necessarily like, master every single one, because that takes a little bit of time. All right. So before we dive on in, I'd like to be just completely transparent with you. My hope is that this workshop will give you a taste of what you could accomplish if we were to continue working together. So at the end of the workshop, for those of you who want to learn how you can continue to work with me and my team of coaches, I will share how you can apply to be in our online coaching program, Flex Ed. The program includes our step-by-step video tutorial library, over 50 live beginner to advanced handstand and flexibility Zoom classes each week. All those classes are recorded and uploaded to our video library, so you have access to them 24/7. Plus, you've got tons of support outside of class through our Facebook group and messenger support from me and my husband and Ryan, where we can also review your videos, provide you with additional feedback, coaching, and accountability. At the end of the workshop, I'll share a lot more detail about our online coaching program, and I'll be able to answer any of your questions that you may have. We'll be dropping the link to our team calendar so we can talk with you more about your goals and see how we can help to reach them. All right, before we dive on in, I'd like to share a little bit about myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Shelly Airy, and I'm a professional contortionist, hand balancer, and aerialist, and I've been teaching handstands and flexibility for over 15 years. My movement journey started when my mom put me in gymnastics at age 6. And then at 10, I transitioned to rhythmic gymnastics. From my background in rhythmic, my skills transitioned pretty seamlessly to contortion as well as to aerial silks. And I started performing, and soon I was traveling all over the world, performing in Hong Kong, Italy, Puerto Rico, throughout the US, and even in New York City in the Broadway musical Pippin. And for as long as I can remember, it has been my dream to be able to perform a hand balancing act. Growing up, I was absolutely obsessed with watching the hand balancers in Cirque du Soleil. But what I didn't know was that developing the skill of hand balancing was going to be unlike anything I've ever tried to learn before. So despite growing up with over 15 years of gymnastics training, where I practiced over 20 hours each week, so that's 1,500 hours, by the way, in case you wanted to do the math, trying to make any headway with my handstands proved to be way more challenging than I had anticipated. And I'm willing to bet that many of you in here with us today are running into a lot of the same struggles that I had. So who here saves Instagram or YouTube tutorials on how to do a handstand? And then maybe like every once in a while you dig through the tutorials and you give it a go and you film yourself trying to replicate what you saw in the tutorial, and you're just like wondering how the heck they made it look so damn easy. Can any of you relate to struggling to maintain a consistent training routine because you're too busy or you're too tired, and so you just tell yourself, I'll just train extra hard tomorrow, no problem. But before you know it, a week has gone by, or even months have gone by. And at that point, you're just like, screw it, it's not happening. Or say you do set aside consistent time to train, but then you often find yourself feeling stuck in that plateau, not knowing what you're doing wrong, or like how to get to the next level. Or maybe you're like me and you get so unbelievably frustrated that you have a full-blown meltdown and start bawling in the middle of the gym. Or even worse, you take your handstand block and throw it across the gym and shatter the mirror. Probably not one of my best moments. But luckily for you, I've been there myself, and I'm here to tell you that your journey doesn't have to be that way. Just 3 short years ago, I finally discovered the secret that led me to being able to finally accomplish my lifelong dream of performing a hand balancing act, which, by the way, I currently perform every Friday and Saturday at a French steakhouse in Baltimore called Monarch. So if you are local, which a lot of you guys are, you should definitely come in for dinner and watch the show. That'd be super cool. Anyway, what I realized that it made me so successful as a gymnast, that had allowed me to develop the strength and the flexibility and the body awareness to achieve these amazing skills, was that I needed consistent live coaching and feedback. I needed a coach, a mentor, someone in my corner, not just some pre-recorded video tutorials to watch, not just a training plan to do on my own, not just a one-off workshop or a private lesson. I needed someone to hold me accountable to the goals that I set out to achieve. An expert in their craft who could identify the subtle errors I was making and be able to communicate the adjustments that I needed to make. Someone who could see my potential and who believed in me in the times when I didn't believe in myself. And that's when I found my coach, Artur. I had been training for so long on my own, I had no idea what I was missing out on and how much harder I was working than was actually necessary. All of the mental energy I was spending simply trying to get myself to show up consistently, or feeling guilty or down on myself when I didn't make it into practice that day. Now I have someone who's expecting me to show up. And so no matter how busy my schedule is, I carve out that hour-long training session because I know that there's someone on the other end that's waiting for me to show up. And I can't even tell you how much time I wasted analyzing my training videos, desperately trying to identify what I was doing wrong. Whereas now I simply show up to class and trust that my coach is going to tell me when I'm doing things wrong, or give me the positive reinforcement when I'm doing things correctly. Simply having that reassurance was such a huge weight off my shoulders that I didn't even realize I was carrying. So now I'd like to ask you all, and please take a moment to share your answers in the chat. What is your why? Why do you want to learn a handstand? Why did you decide to show up for this workshop today? And not just for this workshop today, but why are you constantly pushing yourself out of your comfort zone? What is that driving force? So the reason I ask is because knowing your why is going to be the difference between success and defeat. Don't forget that this journey entails more than the highlight reels that you see on social media, right? It requires commitment, dedication, hard work, and consistency. So ultimately, your why is going to be that driving force that keeps you on track towards reaching your goals. So for me, handstands are an escape. They're an escape from the daily stressors of life and my opportunity to push my body to the limit, to chase the high of unlocking new skills and exploring my body's potential, getting to share my hard-earned skills with those around me. So now that we've explored our whys a little bit, I believe it's time for us to dive on in and see what all we can accomplish during this workshop together.